Dark Days of Helsinki, 2017, late September. Death is glooming all above us, all around us. There's no hope left for mankind, and I'm soon to burst into tears. Not only because of this cold weather, not only because the bands we have here, but the atmosphere, which you can see, hear, almost smell. But before we die, let's have a chat with a young man with a particular talent, with two bands of which one is actually playing today, Vallenfyre. The man I'm going to show you here is Valtteri Väyrynen, talented Finnish drummer. So, Valtteri, how does it feel to play in your home city?
I mean, there's always a special vibe about it to play in Helsinki, especially with these bands, Vallenfyre and PL, because obviously there's a lot of friends coming to see us and family and stuff like that. So I'm always a bit more nervous when playing Helsinki than playing abroad or something. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it tonight.
So you're in an interesting case in many ways. You're like 23 years old, but you already played not one but two bands that have been, consist of old guys. Especially Paradise Lost has basically created whole gothic death metal, and you've been playing with them now a few years already. And yeah. Not only that, but you also did two albums this year, which is basically last year, but cut out this year. So it must be busy.
They were recorded this year.
This year, okay. Yeah. So how does this busy life take over of a life of a 23-year-old drummer?
All I can say is like a dream come true, because I always wanted to be a drummer since I was like 3 years old, and I never had a plan B. So this is just like I don't know how to explain, but it still feels unbelievable that I'm able to do this right now. But I just try to enjoy every second and every day, and I mean, it's not always just like glamour and like wonderful times, but still I realize I'm in a very rare position. I mean, not many people, especially in Finland, can do this what I'm doing right now, so I'll try to cherish it.
Before we get into more details, you as a person and your career, let's start with the question: how did you end up in these bands?
I first joined Vallenfyre in 2014 summer, because they did an online audition. They were searching for a new drummer because their previous drummer Adrian Erlandsson was too busy with At the Gates and The Haunted and the million other bands he's playing with. So basically I just sent my videos and application for them, and then a few days after I got a reply and asking if I was interested to join Vallenfyre, and I was like, what can you do? So that's basically what happened, and we did a few tours, 2014 and 2015 with Vallenfyre. Then PL was in the same situation in the spring 2015, and Craig just asked me like if I fancy doing a few shows with PL, filling in for Adrian as well, because he was again too busy with his other bands. And I, of course, said yes. And then now, 2 years later, I'm a permanent member of the band. So that's how, in a nutshell.
Does it feel weird, considering you're almost 30 years younger than the rest of the guys? And I mean, both bands, they were like, the Vallenfyre has obviously the same guitar player, Greg McIntosh, as in Paradise Lost. This has to be made clear for those who don't know the bands. But also the other guy, the third guy in Vallenfyre, the bass player, he's been in My Dying Bride since like ages. So there's like lots of.
The guitarist.
Guitarist.
Yeah, he used to play in My Dying Bride, but he left like 3 years ago, right before I joined Vallenfyre. He left MDB.
So how do you fit in with these people who could be basically your dads?
Surprisingly well. I mean, of course I was a bit nervous before I joined the band, like how I'm gonna get on with them, because they're so much older and they speak different language and stuff like that. But it went really well in the end, and we have like exactly the same kind of sense of humor, very dark, very miserable. So you don't even feel the age difference anymore. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's gone really well.
So let's first talk about Paradise Lost. The main reason being Vallenfyre is going to play later on today, and it's the main theme today. Paradise Lost has, like it was said, it has been here for like eternity already, and they have lots of albums, 15 full-length albums
15.
right now. So how do you feel even those shoes of all these drummers before you and all that? How do you cope with such a long history?
No, I think because I'm so young, I bring some kind of new energy in the band, maybe. And yeah, as I said, we get on surprisingly well, considering the age difference and all. So, yeah.
So Paradise Lost as a band started as a real heavy death metal band with lots of kind of a doomy vibes. Then they, as you are aware of, as many of you are aware of, we actually did some Paradise Lost history kind of video. Oh. So lots of stuff, you know, getting lighter and then darker and heavier again. Yeah. And now Vallenfyre and Paradise Lost are surprisingly close to each other musically, but there are some major differences as well. How do you, as a drummer, feel these differences? How much they mean to you in the first place?
Well, PL is more about hard hitting and groovish stuff, while Vallenfyre is just like chaos, and you just it's not as, how do you say, organized music as PL. While with PL, I'm playing with a click and trying to be as
precise.
Yes, exactly. But Vallenfyre is more just kind of punk rock attitude, more like, I would say. But still, always try my best with both bands, obviously. But that's how I would describe it.
How much do you participate in like creating the music? I mean, like creating the full songs and honing the songs and, you know, adding details, all that, even lyrics. What is your role in besides just, you know, playing the drums, obviously?
No, I mean, Craig usually composes everything, and he does also the lyrics in Vallenfyre. With PL, Craig composes the music, but Nick does all the vocal melodies and lyrics. And my role is kind of, I've got basically free hands to do drums however I want. But yeah, I don't participate on the composing that much, to be honest. I might throw some ideas like maybe we should do this chorus a bit longer or something like that. But it's more of like arranging kind of thing.
Is there any like favorites, considering you know the long discography of the band? Are there any favorites you like, you know, when playing a show and you know set up the set list, like which songs are you gonna play? Which are your favorites from the Paradise Lost setting?
There's quite a lot of them, but I would say Ember's Fire is always the highlight for me.
And the album?
As an album, Icon and Draconian Times, but of the new ones, like the latest ones, I would say Tragic Idol and Fate Divides Us, Death Unites Us are my favorite albums.
Regarding the lyrics, I know that you don't write them exactly, but you still probably read them. So how do you, hopefully, but how do you feel about them? I mean, considering, you know, like the age differences and experience in life and tragedies that has happened to us and all that stuff, how easily or how hard is to relate to those kind of lyrics as a much younger member?
It's pretty easy. It's same themes with all the people, no matter how old you are.
I've been like divorced 5 times. I know how to write dark lyrics.
No, but it's very anti-religious, basically, and then just all the miserableness of life, so which we all know about. So yeah, it's not hard to relate on the lyrics, really.
There's been said that Finns and British people have in common dark humor and for the love of beer. Are these your qualities as well?
I would say so, yeah. Definitely, because especially northern Finland, where I'm from, and they're from northern England, it's like there's no difference.
Just more snow here than rain.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Vallenfyre a bit, because you've been there for longer, and that is kind of, I don't know if main band, but it came first.
Yeah.
So Vallenfyre is playing today. How do you think these bands differ when setting up gigs, tours, and the band life in general?
Vallenfyre is more, well, I would say it's an underground band. So when we do a tour, it's very small venues with a, like I said, very punk rock attitude. While PL is obviously playing bigger venues and we have more crew, and yeah, that's basically the main difference.
Which one is more relaxing to tour with? Is it Vallenfyre because of the smaller like crews and settings, or is it Paradise Lost because you get more booze and maybe better luxury? I don't know. I'm just tossing these ideas.
No, it kind of depends. I don't stress too much about it anyway. I mean, on the other hand, PL is maybe easier to do because I've got my drum tech and we have our guitar tech. But then I'm more bored during the days. I don't have anything to do. And I like to set up my drums myself. So I don't really know. They're both kind of easygoing bands. There's no too much stress about them.
So how do you train when, rehearse the new songs, because you live in different places? You especially, you live in Finland. Meanwhile, the other guys, I guess they live still in England.
Yeah.
So how do you practice?
We don't.
You just do it like online, like, oh, here's the track.
Yeah, we didn't rehearse at all before recording the new album. So, but we had one rehearsal before we played the new album in its entirety a few weeks ago. That's the only rehearsal we've had in the last year and a half or something. I think we've had like 3 or 4 rehearsals overall during my time in the band. So, so we don't rehearse basically.
There is this Finnish saying that you don't need to rehearse when you simply got talent. What we have here is simply talent. So, let's talk about a little bit more about Vallenfyre. You recorded a new album earlier this year, and it came during the spring. How was it welcomed in the magazines, online medias, and whatnot?
I would say 95% of all the reviews and feedback I've read has been overly positive. Like, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 not so good reviews, but other than that, it's been really good.
What do you think is the most important strength, or the best thing in Vallenfyre as when it comes to music?
I think one of those things is diversity, because there's so many different kind of songs on that album, on all of those albums. But there's doom stuff, there's death stuff, there's crusty stuff. So it's kind of like a mixtape of all those styles in one album, and that's how Craig also describes it, because he gets bored of one music style very very quickly. I mean, he can't listen to like a full grindcore album in one sitting. So it's kind of like a mixture of all those styles, which I like.
So your drumming style is, like you said before, it's a bit different from band to band.
Yeah.
What are your drum inspirations? What kind of drummers you look up to when trying to learn new tricks or playing styles or whatever?
My biggest influence of all time is definitely Dirk Väyrynen from, he plays in Megadeth nowadays, but he used to play in Soilwork for like 15 years or something. And obviously Kai Hahto as well, and Daniel Olansson from Arch Enemy. I would say those 3 are my biggest influences.
What made you to start drumming in the first place?
I can't remember. I was 3 years...
I was too drunk.
No, I was 3 years old. So I think it's always been in my blood.
So now that we're talking you as a person, as a Finnish musician, you said you started early enough that you don't even remember. But what drove you into metal? What was the first metal album that you can remember?
I think it was actually one of the first albums was Draconian Times, because my parents, they like heavy metal and they had all those albums that I was really curious about as well already when I was a kid. So the first bands I was listening to were like PL, Children of Bodom, Cradle of Filth, Typo Negative, stuff like that. And they're still my favorites.
So that is why you dyed your hair black.
Black number one.
So you have cool parents. These parents take advice. Be metalheads, and you get cool metalheads as a result, obviously. So what lies in the future for you as as the bands and as a person? What do you foresee?
With PL, we're gonna more or less tour the next 2 or 3 years with this album, and then maybe start writing another one. I don't know. But with Vallenfyre, we're actually still gonna tour doing this year and next year, and then that's it. I mean, that's the end of the band. Because Craig only wanted to do 3 albums with that band, and we still enjoy doing it. But he just feels like that's it. That he doesn't have any new ideas for the next album, and why should he have? Because we've pretty much done everything already with that kind of music. But yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So
I mean, never say never, but I think we're gonna tour till the end of 2018 and then call it a day.
all right. Since you live in Finland and those other guys, like you said, you don't rehearse, but you have to travel a lot. How does it impact your personal life? What do your parents think? Having to be this rock and roll lifestyle and traveling all the time with the, gigs and festivals and stuff.
Well, they live far up the north anyway, so I don't see them more than once or twice a year. So it doesn't really affect on them. But obviously it's difficult when you have a girlfriend at home and stuff like that, and you're away like 80% of the year. But for now, it's been fine. But yeah, this is what I always wanted to do, so you just have to balance it out with your personal life, and it'll be fine.
Have you had any pressure to, I don't know, let's say move to Great Britain or anything like that?
No, not really, because it wouldn't change anything, because all the other guys live in the different places anyway in the UK, so I don't think we would still rehearse more than now, so it wouldn't change anything.
Do you have any other personal, I don't know, passion or projects that you have in your mind that you would like to play, let's say from another subgenre or anything like that?
I always have tons of ideas, but then there's no time for that really. So
Let's write a grindcore song.
yeah.
Let's do a black metal.
I'm a big fan of black metal, and I've always been. So I like to have like a black metal side project one day maybe, but we'll see.
All right.
There's always something going on. I mean, I do a lot of session stuff as well, always when I have time. I did a tour with the Moon Sorrow last year, European tour, and we're gonna do something together as well this year, which will be announced later on. But yeah, it's busy times.
That sounds really interesting, but we're going to, say goodbye to each other, maybe see you later on the stage. Definitely we'll see. But the thing is, what is your advice for other young musicians with lots of ambition like you, how to, set their foot in the metal music scene? What are your advice to the other people who are still young and dreaming and gonna play rock and roll or metal music?
I think the most important thing is, and I know it sounds like a very big cliche, but you have to believe in yourself and to yourself, and just do what you love and love what you do, and obviously you have to have contacts, and but I think playing skills in the end are just like 50% of the whole thing. It's more about how are you as a person. You have to get on with people, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, the theme song for this very last sentimental comment even is listen to Journey's Don't Stop Believing. I don't know what made me say it, but I think there's a clear message for people like Valtteri and others who are going to be big names someday. So, I thank you for all your time. Do you have any final words for Paradise Lost fans, Vallenfyre fans, or fans of you?
Thank you for buying our new albums, and see you at the shows.
That's all for now. Now we let the doom, gloom, and death set all over us. It's time to say farewell.
Colors fade, life in